Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to magFAST 2021. Guys, we are winding down the end of the Mega Man block for Friday. Guys, you have been awesome. Thank you so much for all the donations. Baron Von Bryan, he donated $20. He says you saw him die 20 times, right? So, sounds about right. So thank you so much for that. With that being said, even though it is the end, we have saved the best for last for you Battle Network fans. Get ready, guys, because Risch is up next. He is about to play Mega Man Battle Network 6, Gregar version, and he's going to speedrun it. So, take it away!
Thank you, Hex. Hello, everyone. My name is Risch. As he said, I will be running Mega Man Battle Network 6 Gregar version. Similar to a lot of other games, they did start doing multiple versions in the Battle Network series. The Gregar version happens to be the faster one. Today I am joined by Aerithar, another Battle Network 6 speedrunner. Want to introduce yourself, Aerithar?
Hello, I'm Aerithar. I sort of speedrun 6. I have not done in a little while. It's not seriously. I've been doing more kind of tasks and routing work for the game lately, but I do know quite a lot about the game.
But yes, so the audio just cut on me? Oh, no, that's my headset. Don't mind me. Technical difficulties on my side. But yeah, so I think nothing really too much to talk about before the run gets started, so I think we are all ready to go, I believe. So I'll just have Aerithar give me a quick countdown and we can get started.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go.
Classic BN fashion of terrible countdowns. Game just kind of starts off with a lot of tutorials. You got to talk to everything, including the counter, of course. Not actually, but you got to do it for good luck.
It's RNG manipulation.
Yeah. Not actually. For those that don't realize we're not being serious.
So, if anyone hasn't seen Battle Network before, you'll get kind of a little glimpse at how the combat works in the tutorial here. And the combat is really the thing that draws so many people to the Battle Network series, because it's very unique and really fun and engaging in a few ways. You get sort of an overarching deck building aspect, and you have a turn-based system where you get to choose cards, but then the battles end up playing out in real time. And you can do fancy things to kind of optimize that. There are a lot of very small optimizations in BN6 that you see throughout the run that aren't super obvious until you get into the speedrun. And it's really fun to play for that reason. There's also like a pretty big net battling community for it now, I think. And they have their own Discord and stuff, if that's something you're interested in. Basically what the tutorials teach you, the first one taught us that we can take multiple chips of the same type, and then the second one teaches us that we can take multiple chips if they have the same code, which is the little S you saw under the area grab on the wide sword. There are two different types of chips. One is used in real time, like the sword, and one is used in... it stops time, like the area grab. Tara points out in chat that the Japanese version of Battle Network, the text is really minor in this series, and usually it comes down to various changes between the two versions, such as like maybe the Japanese version has specific glitches, or sometimes even cut content between the two different games. In 1.0 carts in BN3, you can skip a certain Navi fight, for example, or how BN5 has different or less comps in English. For 6 in particular, English and Japanese are basically the same. We play on English because you can use a certain glitch a little easier on English, whereas it soft locks on Japanese in one of the situations we use it in.
Yeah, I think there was some recent looking into the actual like text box differences, it's maybe a couple seconds. I'm actually trying to force a fight right now so that I can get a particular chip. Very interesting fight. Unfortunately. Wait, why did I do it this way? I did this in a very impressive manner, don't mind me.
We, to get to Central Area 2, we need a reflector chip, which drops from Metars. Normally it's pretty easy, but there are occasions when you get 3 viruses and not really much to delete them with because the starting folder is not amazing. Luckily he did get it, although we'd prefer the A code. Sometimes the, what are they called, the gunners can appear as well in Area 1, and that can be a problem because if it rolls their loot table, which is a 50-50, I think, then you could end up getting Zenny or the mock gun chip instead of reflector.
I am making the worst decisions possible in the early game. It's fine though. Yeah, those fights I did not execute very well, but as the run gets further and further along, the choices that I need to make will not be nearly as complicated, though that fight should have been very simple. Don't mind me just being absolutely terrible.
I think you were probably thrown off because the first fight was really bad. It's a truly terrible chip draw in the first area.
Oh yeah, no, the first fight was just unfortunate.
So it's interesting how movement ends up working in these games since they're isometric. Top to down is actually less distance than left to right, so horizontal movement ends up being really bad, and we try to cut it out wherever possible. That's kind of the TLDR of movement. Horizontal bad, vertical good.
Also, there are things called turn frames that you try to avoid. Basically, every time you turn, Lan or Mega Man will have to go through an extra animation to... They'll basically have to change the sprite real quick, and during that sprite change, there's a frame where you're actually not moving at all. So you want to eliminate as many turns as possible. It's very small optimizations, and honestly, you probably, 90% of people will not notice unless you are watching Battle Network runs all the time.
Yep. And even then, it's not like super obvious.
Yep.
So we're not explaining much of the plot stuff, because the speedrun kind of just glosses over it, but right now the school is being kind of, I don't know if attacked is the right word, but we'll use attacked by a fire-type Navi. And he is currently controlling the copy bots, not the copy bots, the punishment bots. The robot that he just used to bring Mega Man into the real world is called a copy bot. They were introduced in 6, and they have a limited power supply. But also, all the rules they set up in that first cutscene, you pretty much ignore for the rest of the game. So...
No, yeah, the plot is usually not important. It's usually really funny, though, to comment on some very funny parts of the plot, like where the security bots, for some reason, in a school have flamethrowers, because that's 100% necessary. And also, we used a copy bot to go and grab a bucket of water in order to douse all of them. That animation is actually kind of funny, but...
It's pretty good. There's so much water in that bucket. The story in Battle Network is kind of good enough to keep you relatively engaged when you play it for the first time, but it's very much not the main reason that people come back to the series so much.
Yeah. They are indeed magical. And no, it was not in fact Zero on the floor, that was our teacher, Mr. Mock. Zero has a singular appearance in the Battle Network series, and he's in more of like a spin-off of the Battle Network series.
Yeah, he does appear in a couple posters as like Easter eggs. You might see him on like a wall poster in one of the buildings or something. But he actually physically appears in Network Transmission, which is a GameCube side-scrolling platformer Battle Network.
I'm overthinking so many of these fights. We didn't really talk about it very much, but this first dungeon comp, basically the whole gimmick is there are certain triggers on the floor that when you cross them will trigger a firewall. After a short period of time, the fire will attack you in a random direction, as you can see. And if you're hiding behind a security cube, you can avoid taking damage, but we don't care about taking damage as much as anything else. What we actually care about is not getting random encounters as frequently as possible. So what you see me doing most of the time is actually triggering a couple extra firewalls, because the TLDR of it is when a firewall is active, your step counter is not really increasing, so you're less likely to get encounters as a result. Like I wait there just to trigger an additional firewall that otherwise we would skip over.
Yep, these comps got rerouted within, I guess it was probably within the last year, right?
I think it was
So a
about
little
year
more
ago,
than
yeah.
that now? It
Yeah.
might be a little more. But
Yeah.
they're kind of optimized to be done in the least number of steps possible, which keeps your encounter chance as low as possible. And there's some specifics we could get into with why they reduce your step counter overall, but it's not really super important unless you're doing the routing yourself. So just know that getting extra firewalls is making it less likely for them to get encounters. And so at the end here, he'll have, is it a 6% check right before the boss? No, it's like 50-50, right?
There's like 3 or 4 encounter checks that you get, so it's overall about a 50% chance that you get an
Right.
encounter, but just
The
skip
6% is before if your movement's bad.
it. Yeah.
You skip the encounter, which is great.
Yeah, but unfortunately, as I've made so many mistakes already this run, I don't have an A-coded reflector, which means that I'm not able to take it with very many other options.
So if you're standing behind a cube, Blastman's AI will always use that same attack. You have to be standing directly behind it. It doesn't have to be the one on his side. There's an EX version of Blastman later that we'll see, and there's a cube right in the middle of your own area, and that one works just the same.
And yes, we used the best chip in the game, mini bombs, aka mini boomers in the anime. Easily the best chip in the game. Totally not something we want to take out right away.
Mini bombs are the best chip. I have no idea what you're trying to imply here.
Also, yes, that is a very fun fact that Skipper brought up. Blastman is actually, I believe, the only robot master in the classic series that actually originated in the Battle Network series. A lot of the Navis that you see in Mega Man Battle Network were originally robot masters in the classic series, but some of them are actually unique ideas, such as Blastman. And Blastman was actually then recreated in the newest installment in the classic series. Yeah, as an RPG, menuing is generally pretty important in Battle Network speedruns. 90% of the game is menuing.
In particular, you can lose a surprising amount of time in full roads.
So that was just a little plot point about the Psy Beasts. As we know, this game is called Mega Man Battle Network 6 Psy Beast Gregar. They're not important. We'll not worry about them for like another 20 minutes or so.
20? Yeah, about 20.
I guess it's like 30 actually. Yeah. You're right. Ah yes. Speaking of funny plot points, we are in the process of trying to figure out how to feed a pelican, and by that I mean a penguin. Because the plot point is that Land doesn't actually know what a penguin is, and originally calls it a pelican, and then calls it something else. I forget what. Net navigators are kind of like, or net navies, I should say, short for net navigator. They basically are able to, they're just like Siri, and they're able to just search the internet really quick for information. So Mega Man has to correct Land on a lot of really stupid things.
Worth noting that Mega Man doesn't actually have any like extra knowledge installed, I'm pretty sure. He's just like is smarter than Land.
Yeah.
I mean, he spends, I guess, like net navies don't sleep, right? So he probably spends like time learning things on the internet.
Yep. So Reflector is a really good ship.
Yeah.
It's very often that you can just kind of use it to get free counter hits on enemies. I don't know if we really talked about it, but when you get a counter hit or you hit an enemy just before they attack, you get what is called full synchro, which makes it so your next ship will deal double damage. So Reflector is usually really good in these few force fights that we have to do to get basically guaranteed counter hits on enemies, so that we can then utilize full synchro to just demolish fights. However, as I mentioned, it's unfortunately in a bad code because I was bad at the game in the early game. Which means that sometimes I'm going to have to take 2-turn fights that could otherwise be 1-turned.
It'll stop mattering soon anyway.
Yep.
There's like, what, 2-ish more fight? 3-ish more fights?
Yeah, it's three more fights, 1 force, 2 random effectively. After Seaside area, we're basically just done with Reflector. We also didn't talk too much about it, but I just used a subchip called a Speedrun. What that does is, if I have it enabled, I basically, anytime I would get an encounter check, it checks what my max HP is against the battle level of all battles that are possible in the area. And if my HP is above a certain threshold, such that I would be able to 100% run away from fights in this area, which I currently do, I basically will not get the encounter check. It will just skip it entirely. Which means, TLDR, if I use a sneak run right now in these central areas, I will not get encounters. Also, we're coming up on perhaps the best sprite in all of Battle Network.
Oh, are you gonna show it?
I'll show it briefly.
Alright. It's pretty good.
Oh, so we need to get the repairman's tool so that he can go and fix a leak on the internet. And apparently this is his tool. Yeah. Moving on. because everyone needed a Metar with a plunger on its head to lighten up their day.
So this is like the main, I guess, example of where Reflector C is bad. With the Reflector A, you will often get a one-turn fight here.
Unfortunately, my draw was actually bad enough, even with an A-coded Reflector.
It still would have been 2 turns.
I think both of the fights it would have been the same. Even Blastman was the exact same.
Yeah.
Classic RNG-based draws. And so now we're coming up on, in what would be like 4 reset attempts, the most annoying part of the run. We mentioned earlier that there was a door that we needed Reflector 1 in order to get through. There's another similar door that requires a chip called Train Arrow 1, which we want to get from Seaside area. However, unlike Reflector, it is not a guaranteed drop at S rank, or any rank for that matter. It's a 50-50 drop from the Piranha table. So, we're just in RNG, not sure what the best term is here, but this is not fun. I basically am preying on a lot of 50-50s. Right now this fight has a 1 in 6 chance.
This is like one of the better fights that you can get. Sometimes the Piranha moves up and you just immediately get a triple delete.
So, as far as marathons are concerned though, there is a very nice backup to this area. However, in an any percent run, this is basically our only opportunity that we would realistically want to get Train Arrow from. So, you would be resetting over and over and over and over again until you get it from this area.
Oh, Risch, come on. Could be a Mega Energy Bomb, dude.
I am not taking the back in Mr. Data. We did get the Train Arrow though, so I don't even have to do the backup strat.
Nice.
Also, yes, nice, 69 HP. I'm glad you noticed, Dallas. So, the funny thing about Train Arrow is, I think even if it weren't a required chip as far as the story is concerned, at this point a Gregar run practically needs it, because there are some really good boss fights that involve Train Arrow draws.
Yeah, it can be really helpful in the next boss fight, and then the one after that it's like the only reasonably fast way to kill the boss.
Yeah, so there's a comp over to our left over there called Fish Sticks comp. We'll actually enter it a bit later, but in that comp, every encounter only has the Piranha Virus. It's a very good backup strat for getting Train Arrow if you don't already have it. Highly recommended for marathon runs or just runners who don't really want to put up with grinding in the next dungeon comp where you can actually theoretically skip encounters. So this is actually going to be a quick folder edit, and then we're going to get the magFAST. Oops. Let me just fix this real quick. Where did I put that? Wait. Trainer is in the right spot. We're fine. So this is the magFAST. Mind explaining, Arthur?
So the magFAST is a way that you can kind of augment Mega Man a little and customize his abilities a bit more. You can give him more HP, better basic buster stats. We haven't seen much of yet, but we'll see more of later. As well as other unique abilities. One of the ones they give you in the magFAST tutorial that we're just doing here now is Undershirt, which allows you to survive lethal damage with 1 HP if you have at least 2 HP. And that works more than once per battle. So if you have ways to heal, there are recovery chips, or there are other ways to heal as well. Maybe non-Gregor. But in other games, Undershirt also exists, and you can get healing off grass panels if you are a wood element.
Yeah, in
And
prior
there's also
games,
things like air shoes that lets you walk on cracked tiles and stuff like that. It's pretty helpful.
yeah, in prior games, there are ways to heal that are actually just ridiculous, such that you're healing multiple HP per frame. So basically, you become invincible if you have Undershirt enabled. We're actually going to just completely remove it, because it's better to have the Buster stats. You'll see what I mean later.
I might have missed it, but you can also increase your HP with the magFAST program, although it doesn't count for sneak running or running from encounters.
Yep. Speaking of which, I mentioned that we can skip encounters in the next dungeon comp, which is not related to the sneak run thing I was talking about earlier. Sneak run is very useful if you can hit the HP thresholds for it, but hitting the HP thresholds in BN6 for areas outside of like the first one is practically impossible for the speedrun, or just unrealistic. At least in a fast way. So we're not going to be sneak running through things, but we're going to be looking for ways to either skip or lower our chance at getting random encounters.
That's been a lot of the more recent optimizations in 6 is kind of step counter management, trying to reduce our chances of random encounters as much as possible. In some of the other Battle Network games, you can skip encounters in other ways. 4 has a bug that works more like an oversight, that works similarly to the thing we're going to see in the aquarium comps soon. But you can do it for the whole game anywhere. And then, like, 2 and 3 have good HP memory routes, which let you skip the vast majority of encounters throughout the game. Random ones, at least.
Yeah,
BN1 is a truly unique... It's a topic for another time.
I'm a legend. Swag talk to the elephant seal. You want to talk about swag talking?
So, swag talking to most things is a one-frame window. Talking to the elephant seal, it's an NPC, so it's a one-frame window to turn around. There are objects and mystery data where you have a 3-frame window, and it's a little easier. Like the aquarium exhibits, I missed if you swag talk to any. I'd be disappointed if not.
I did at least the shark one, because that one's free.
Gotcha. Those are 3 frames.
Yeah. And we do call it swag talking because it is basically just that. It is just swag. It just lets you basically talk like you're an anime protagonist to whatever you're supposed to be talking to. So apparently copy bots are completely waterproof. I don't know why they didn't make the security bots the same way in our school, but yeah, we just go to the bottom of this pool to get an inflatable ball, because the pool is filled with jellyfish, so Lanton can't go in it himself. And that way, we can get the elephant seal away from the door that we need to go through, so that we can enter aquarium comps. Not aquarium comps, aquarium comps.
So, these comps have progs with the Mr. Progs. He's talking to one right now. You can see it. They're scattered through the areas, and you have to. They give you hints about which type of aquatic life they are, or otherwise lie to you in the later areas. And then you have to bring them back to a specific tank and put them in the correctly labeled one. And they made you talk to all the exhibits beforehand, so you should have some idea of what you're doing. Also, following some pretty basic logic. you'll have a pretty good idea playing casually. But if you don't, you can press L to switch to LAN, and that'll save what you're doing in the comp as Mega Man and just switch to LAN without jacking out. And I'll let you go around and re-examine the aquarium exhibits to figure it out for yourself. However, because this deloads the area, and then when you switch back to Mega Man reloads it, it actually resets your step counter, letting us go through the entire set of comps without getting any random encounters.
Or you can just hit every 6% because I'm too lazy to do the proper thing. I have hit 2 6% encounter chances trying to save 3 to 4 seconds. I just want to point that out.
We do take normally 2 6% encounter chances, in one in comp 1 and one in comp 3, to cut out one L button strap.
Alright, let's do the real thing so that we can at least be set up from now on. Because apparently RNG doesn't want to be nice to me today. So yeah, basically just press the L button, go swap to LAN, and you will reset your step counter back to 0. And by doing so, you can skip all random encounters. Worst case, I should only ever get 2, as he mentioned. Technically speaking, there are ways that it can be 100% guaranteed. The more L buttons you do, the better, but it does take time to swap to LAN and back, so taking out as many L buttons as you can actually can save 3 to 4 seconds per L button press. All depends on what type of runner you are. Comp 2 is the nicest one though, because it's like so perfectly routed that you will, unless you make a movement error, you will never get an encounter chance. And you can do the least amount of L buttons possible.
As far as we know, we can't reasonably route out an L button in comp 2. Also, it would be kind of miserable to do so anyway.
Yeah. So the way these sharks work, want to explain that?
Yep. So the gray sharks will they try to follow Mega Man and chase him down. Their movement is a little weird sometimes though. And then the red sharks move a little bit faster, but they're in a completely fixed pattern. They will always be in the same spots doing the same things. The benefit of the gray sharks kind of trying to follow you is if you take the same path every time, they'll pretty much do the same thing every time. And so we have these counts routed out pretty well to just take the fastest route back to the tanks without getting caught.
Yep. And there's a few times you'll see, like earlier I had to walk pretty long. This time I'm going to walk just a tiny bit, because that will allow the blue shark to, basically it's just manipulating the blue shark's movement just a tiny bit so it doesn't go.
In both those spots, if you go full speed, you'll get caught by a shark. Yeah. So we slow down to kind of stall getting Mega Man to a certain position so that the shark will double back and go a different way.
Can't wait to get the 6% at the end of the comp.
Yeah, the one in comp 3 is right at the very end. You'll get it on top of the skull, I think, on the way to Dive Man.
Yep. It's quite disappointing every time. You're all psyched up, ready to fight the boss, and you get stuck with a random encounter out of nowhere.
And then you're like, oh, oops, Run's dead. There is still, I think, a 25% chance that you can run away from an encounter if you do get it.
Yes. Our HP is currently at the point where it would be a 25% chance.
Which is the lowest possible run chance.
Yeah. It's not very good odds, but, you know.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, speaking of the boss of this area, since there's not really much else going on in this comp, do you want to talk a little bit about Dive Man's pattern before we get there?
Dive Man's AI hurts my head when I fight him. He's actually like a really big headache when you understand his AI and you're trying to manipulate everything. So you'll see when the fight starts, he spawns these torpedoes. And the torpedoes are really annoying. They're kind of like a passive effect the boss has. There's nothing related to them that you can counter hit. They'll pop up. One will be in Mega Man's row, and then a second one will be in a row, one of the other two. It's random, 50-50. But one will always be in the row Mega Man's standing in. And then Dive Man himself will move twice, and then he'll surface, and 33% of the time he'll attack. But every fourth time he'll do a tidal wave, guaranteed. If he does attack, you can counter hit him, and you can counter hit the tidal wave. If he chooses not to attack, kind of out of luck. You can manipulate his movement a little bit because he will prioritize leaving the same row as Mega Man over moving forward or backwards. I think that's everything. Sometimes when he pops up, only one torpedo will spawn, and if that or zero, and if that ever happens, you know for sure that he's going to be attacking. You can also, I think, with most ships, dodge the first lob projectile and then hit him to counter the second one, although it's a little finicky sometimes. We're just doing a good job here. Train Arrow is really good in this fight.
His Train Arrow plus 10 with a full synchro does exactly, I don't know, 400 damage?
That was an excellent fight.
Oh, that was the actual optimal draw. If he had done a 33% chance in his first two moves, that would have been a perfect fight.
Yep.
But instead I had to wait for him to do the tidal wave and then move to the back row. One of the other nice things, though, is if you get hit by a torpedo, it gives you iframes on that fight. You notice I did that just before the tidal wave.
It can be kind of awkward to counter hit him on the tidal wave because it hits the front two columns of your field. But then there's also two torpedoes shooting down two rows. So there's only one safe square. And that might not always be in front of him. So generally we try to tank a torpedo right as he's going to tidal wave and then counter hit him. So, because if you get hit, you lose full synchro.
Yeah, you really do not want to get hit after you've already gotten a counter hit, which is very common on Dive Man, not gonna lie. And now we are on the Heat Man portion of the game. This game introduced Link Navis. Starting with BN4, they sort of tried to do some like cool crossovers between Mega Man and other Navis, where like you have souls in BN4 and 5. BN5, they started letting you actually take control of other Navis, which was really cool. And in BN6, they took that a step further and basically said, let's give you these Link Navis scenarios, where after you complete the scenario, you can just always come to this computer and take full control of the Navi over the internet. So at any point, I can just come here and use Heat Man now. Well, after the scenario, of course.
And there are a few times that it'll be forced during the story where you have to use a Link Navi to progress.
Yep.
This is the only first Link Navi scenario, so it's the only one that we do in the speedrun. You could potentially get a let cross and not lose that much time, or if you're a newer runner, you might even potentially save time, or if you got really bad RNG, maybe you would save time as well. But Risch isn't going to be doing that, presumably.
Nah.
I don't think you've ever even learned the Electros scenario, have you?
I helped route it with Taro, actually. How to do the optimal movement.
Nice.
Because I was curious.
So these kettles that he's fighting are routed out pretty particularly because they only take damage from fire. And you have to do 100 damage to them in one hit to kill them. Otherwise, you'll do however much damage, and then the damage will tick back down, and they'll go back down to 0 degrees.
Yep. These viruses are so annoying if you don't do the fights correctly.
Yeah.
I did not say I'm doing it. I said that I do know how to do it.
Instead, you can't do the thing in the third kettle fight.
Yeah, I wanted to die. That would be so great.
In this third kettle fight, you can actually you can step forward and get hit by both of the kettle's kind of death animation attack, and it'll delete Heatman, but because you also won the battle, it'll progress as if you won. But we need the full synchro for the next fight, so we actually can't do that. But it would be fun to show off sometime.
Yeah. You can see that I took 200
speedrun
damage.
does it, so if you want to see it, it's there.
Yeah, you saw there I just took 200 damage from them, so getting hit by 2 would insta KO Heatman. I don't know how he suddenly just got 400 extra HP. Probably should have counter hit him there. Huh.
Oh, you get the train arrow, nice.
I did indeed.
Oh, you didn't counter hit him, nice.
It's okay. I just waited patiently. I would have had to wait anyway with this pattern.
Yeah, so unless you get an attack plus 10, you need to hit him with 2 buster shots. Although that's with crack shot. You had a cannon, right?
Yeah, it was
so
a cannon.
You needed to do 3 buster shots anyway. So I think it actually worked out to not lose time. Yeah.
I know right there's on a bit of a delay, but he's probably going to talk about that cool swag strat for the heat cross tutorial.
So normally there's a 1 frame window where you can mash and get fire hit out in time to get the back metars before they hide. But we can pause and the kind of chip lockout counts down even while the game is paused. So we can make that window a lot bigger. So say you press A, and use fire hit. There's no Mega Man animation, but there is a delay before you can use another chip. And some chips also have an animation that Mega Man has to finish first. But you can literally overlap fire hits with the pause strat and hit like the same tile. Like you can kill the Metar with the first hit and then hit the same dead Metar with the second fire hit. That's how fast you can get them out with that strat.
I've done that before.
Yep, it's really sad. Not very fun.
Oh, come on.
So here we pick up a few things from the number trader. Particularly we're interested in Buster Pack, but we also pick up a few chips that'll help us clear encounters quickly, and we pick up HP plus Navi Customizer program. Buster Pack will give us plus $3 to all our Buster stats, and then we'll put attack plus 1 in as well, which is going to max out our attack and set us to 4 charge rate, which is really fast, as you'll see. And this basically makes us super, super strong for the rest of the run.
Yeah, we almost have literally everything we need for the rest of the run at this point, combat-wise.
If you wanted to, you could never use chips again and beat the game pretty quickly. But there are actually a lot of opportunities where using chips or even a different form change we'll see later ends up being faster.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is a pretty long menuing section where I want to do a folder edit, navicust edit, and use a sneak run. What is this folder edit anyway? So, you know all those rules about the navicust? They're just suggestions.
We're about to break most of them.
Like, almost every rule, essentially.
Yeah. So you're not supposed to put plus blocks on the program line, which is where that yellow arrow went across. He just put Buster Pack outside of the lines.
That's new in BN6.
We have several bugs. All of them to the Buster. But as it turns out, it doesn't affect the charge shot, and it doesn't affect Beast Out at all, which is the next form change we'll get. It only affects base Mega Man's charge shot, and it affects base Mega Man and cross Mega Man's uncharged Buster shots, which we never use anyway. So this has no drawback. And in case you're wondering, it is new to put magFAST programs outside the lines in 6. Only 6 can ignore the grid. It does bug you though. It's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah, we basically just have a level 2 buster bug, which just means that the effects
it's
of
level 3, right?
It's off.
Maybe even level 4.
No, it's level 2 because it's
Oh
off.
yeah, it's level 2.
It's off the grid, and attack plus 1 is on command line.
Yeah, in my head I was thinking that Buster Pack and Attack plus 1 were interacting with each other, but they don't.
No,
So
there's
these
no
are the
problem.
evil spirits. Get 4 different ranges of chips, and there are 3 different levels of evil spirit. Red, yellow, and blue. Red take 1 hit to kill, yellow take 2 hits to kill, blue take 3 hits to kill. But hitting one from behind will kill it instantly regardless of its level. And you have like sword, long sword, wide sword, and mini bomb range, basically is how would I explain it. But they're called knife, sword, axe, and gun. And these are pre-routed, of course. They're the same every time. You go super fast, do it optimally, the least number of weapons possible. Yep. There is a more minor optimization you'll see a little bit of, where he'll hit like a yellow one in a way with 1 chip that hits only that yellow one, when he could have used like axe and hit like a red one at the same time. And then he'll double delete them instead after with a 2nd chip. And that's because the death animation for the evil spirits takes considerably longer than just using a chip. So doing it in that order is better. It's just faster. Someone in chat's asking if there's a Circus Man EXE. He's actually the boss of the scenario.
Yeah, it's not Clown Man, it's Circus
soon.
Man.
Yep.
Yep. Circusman.exe. In BN1, there's actually a Color Man who's kind of similar to a clown as well. The anime is actually called Wacko Man, at least the English adaptation.
Don't talk about the English anime.
Yeah, there's actually no such thing as a clownman.exe as far as the English version is concerned.
Was Napalm Man is like Moltanic Man.
Moltanic Man, yes.
I think that one's my favorite.
Napalm becomes Moltanic.
There's a fan translation of the Rockman EXE WonderSwan game that uses the anime names. At least for the battle chips. I'm not sure if it's for the navies, but it's really good. That game is pretty special as well. It's kind of fun to play through.
Oh yeah, Heavy Metal Man's another one. Instead of just Metal Man, Fireman becomes Torchman, which is funny because there's also a Torchman now in Mega Man 11. This is actually the first instance of a time where we have lost control to Mega Man. He just absorbed the Psy Beast that is on the box cover of this game. Literally just stored it in his database, basically. And he just ate the Psy Beast. And now he has indigestion, and we need to go get him some healing water.
We need to go get him some blue Pepto-Bismol from Seaside area.
Yep. So this is one of those instances where we're actually forced to use a Navi that isn't Mega Man, which is why they force you to do a Link Navi scenario.
Exactly. Mega Man didn't stay hydrated. Reminder to stay hydrated.
That is correct.
So this is more slow weapons, and we'll see that gate we mentioned earlier at the end of this area that requires Train Arrow 1 to get through.
Yeah, Evil Spirits were like interesting from a casual standpoint. Once you learn them in the speedrun, though, this is honestly one of the more boring parts of the game.
I kind of like them because they're a bit of a break, right? They're a little relaxing, but still interesting enough because the menu end's really important.
I mean, to me, it's just basically the timing of pressing A is like the most important thing. It's like when did you press A fast enough to advance text? Like, it's like so important.
Feel really nice to execute, and I find them relaxing, so I don't mind them too much.
Small optimization. If you start your sneak run at just the right time and have good enough movement, your sneak run expires now, which means you can just mash A to get rid of that text box, rather than potentially mashing A during evil spirits when pressing A will start the soul weapons. You can also open that gate real quick, and then while the gate is actually going through an animation, you can go and delete an evil spirit real quick. Yeah, it never occurred to me until more recently, I suppose, that Heatman is just basically a Zippo.
Yeah, I kind of like his design.
Interesting.
It's clever. These blue panels we're seeing with the arrows on them, by the way, if you step on one, it'll move you in a straight line all the way to the other end of the panels. Like that.
Yeah, just like that. My movement earlier was so good that I couldn't do the movement I actually wanted to do.
Luckily, you don't get encounters when you're doing soul weapons, because Capcom were very kind and probably realized that that would be really annoying.
Yep. Listen, it's just a throwback. I have to do it every now and then because, you know, it's just my thing. Making it
Risch's PB stepped on the sliders for a while. I think it was world record.
It was my old world record, yeah. At the time, it was like a world record for about 6 months.
Like somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds.
Yep. Similar to the kettle fights, there's going to be 3 gauntlet fights here that are all perfectly well routed with crack shot and heat press, Heatman's signature chip. Just basically chaining full synchros between fights. The third fight, since it's the last fight in the sequence, if you get a draw, you can potentially go a tiny bit faster, but I did not. So how do I do this? There we go. There's a nice little setup where you can buster the Puffy, just to force it to start attacking a little bit sooner for a counter hit with the heat press. The other unfortunate thing is that for some reason, getting full synchro from that fight would not chain into the next forced fight that we have to do at the end of this area.
Yeah, it's because it's a fight tied to a cutscene. I think they did it so that you can't carry full synchro into boss fights.
Yeah. Carrying full synchro into boss fights would be so nice for a lot of the early fights.
Yeah. Imagine you just have full synchro train arrow when you start Heatman.
Yep.
I mean, that won't work because he's in the overall. Still,
yeah. The like dive
fun.
man.
Yeah, dive man especially. As BN6 runners, we all dislike dive man.
Yeah, anything that would make the dive man fight slightly faster is generally much appreciated.
Yeah. So this last fight that he's going to come up on here when he interacts with the heal water reservoir is also routed to be done with crack shot and heat press. But if you use just those 2 chips, then Gunner in the back row survives with 20 HP. Pretty much any extra chip he can take will let him kill it. But if he doesn't get one, he has to wait a custom gauge because Heatman's charge shot can't hit the back column.
And that was Airspin, one of the chips that we got from the lotto codes.
Oh, and he just got Airspin, so...
Oh wait, I need to... I was wondering why that felt wrong. To run away from him.
That swag counter hit too.
Yeah. Stood in the face of the gunner and said no. Airspin is something that people for a while had always been like wondering, is this like a good idea? And I was a big critic of it. I was basically one of those who would just say, just get lucky and draw M-Boomer, which is a better chip in like 95% of situations, or at least breaks even with Airspin. And Airspin's typically more complicated. But I've seen the light. Airspin is a really good chip.
A Japanese runner. Does he have the current one?
Yes.
Okay. The current world record holder is Jagumba. He's a Japanese runner, and he gets Airspin. And watching his runs made a really, really strong case for picking up the chip, to say the least.
Yeah, it's effectively the same thing as drawing your best chip twice as often, because it basically breaks even.
We didn't mention it, but the reason he attack sorted the folder during the last edit and put them in at the top is because the way the shuffling algorithm works in Battle Network, all of them in fact, is that the most likely place for a chip to be is exactly where you put it in the folder. So if you have a chip in slot 2, the most likely chip slot for it to be drawn in battle is slot 2, which is going to be on your opening custom screen. So it's a tip for people playing casually as well. If the chips you want the most, put at the top. Except for Giga chips, because they'll realistically always be in the bottom 15.
And so now you get to see the power of Buster Pack with Heat Cross, the transformation we got from doing Heatman's scenario.
This fight really speaks for how the run's going to go from here.
Yep. There's really not much time to even talk about Circus Man's pattern, because it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. He just attacks and we just dodge, and the main thing is we do 130 damage per charge shot. The crack shot at the beginning is basically just a nice way to not cause iframes, but to also set up a nice threshold that will still let you do one less charge shot.
Yeah, it saves you the time it takes to charge the Buster once, basically.
Yeah. It is literally a 1 second time save to take that crack shot at the beginning. So yeah, at this point in the run, it basically boils down to how many random encounters do we get, and do we get good draws on fights? Like, do we get draws that will save a few seconds here and there? Oops. We're now beginning the Judge Man scenario with a little bit of a sort of a test. It's kind of like a overarching plot point regarding some Pavilion Expo operator Navi test thing. Basically, we just have to go talk to some people in a couple locations. Nothing too fancy. So yeah, they just basically give hints where they're going to be next. This one is a fish that can't swim, which is supposed to be... I don't know what the hint is in Japanese, but the comp is actually called teriyaki comp.
It's about the same, I think, because taiyaki are generally fish-shaped.
Yeah, I said it wrong. Completely wrong, by the way. I forgot what but yeah. And so the answer for the English version is fish sticks comp.
Yeah, because we don't know what taiyaki is.
Yeah. We also just take this quick opportunity to grab an unlocker. It's probably the fastest one that we can get in the run, because coming up, there is a purple mystery data, and purple mystery data require an unlocker in order to get the contents of them. And so we want the purple mystery data. Takoyaki, thank you.
Takoyaki are usually balls. Taiyaki are the fish-shaped ones. Takoyaki are like, they're sort of the same pastry, I think. They're usually like octopus balls. You put like tentacle bits in them. Jelly donuts. Yeah, basically.
So, this is the final step of this test. We get an HP memory from it, which is, you know, kind of unnecessary. The expo folder, though, has some nice chips that we're going to take out of it. Because we didn't really talk about Beast Out. We can talk about that in a second. But I'm about to do perhaps one of the most important things in the run, which is this nice quiz here.
So this quiz doesn't directly give us anything. It gives us a key item that has a Lotto Trader code written on it. If you check it in the menu, I forget what it is. I don't think it's particularly useful. It's not one of the ones we get in the run. But this makes a different quiz available later in the game, which is really, really important to the speedrun. It's basically BN6's identity for speedrunning. Yep. If you don't consider Heat Cross to be the identity anyway.
Heat Cross is the in-battle identity. Slip Run is the overworld identity, but we'll talk more about it once we actually get it.
Heat Cross is kind of the flashy thing that people see and stands out a lot, but this other thing is really what makes BN6 kind of more intricate and fun to route and optimize as far as like overworld movement.
Yep, and now we're about to do the folder edit to take out a bunch of null element chips. I want to talk about why that's important, Arthur.
Yeah, so we want null element chips in our folder because the new form change we got from the tutorial after beating Circus Man, called Beast Out, lets us charge null element chips, and you'll kind of, every time you charge a chip, you'll jump in front of the targeted virus and slap them twice. You'll do 100 damage per slap because we have maxed out Buster attack. And so doing 200 damage is just really good, and it charges fast, and it doesn't have the same kind of lockout as the Heat Buster does, so oftentimes it'll end up being faster to use it. You can also mix the form changes, which we'll see exactly once. Maybe twice, but it's only going to be important once.
So now, this is basically the pace of the rest of the run. We're just basically going to be hoping to not be getting random encounters, but every time we do, we're typically going to take copy damage, and we're going to use Heat Cross. And if we draw literally anything, like Air Spin or M Boomer or Black Bomb, any of those like really good chips that are literally at the top of our folder because they are the best chips, we want to draw them more often. If we draw any of them, we'll try to take those instead, and potentially not even Heat Cross, because Heat Cross does have a slight animation to it that loses maybe a second or maybe a second and a half at the start of fights. And if we can just do the fight slightly quicker, we take those.
We also just became a lawyer, officially, in training.
Lawyer in training, yes.
We learned that the punishment for hitting a Mr. Prog on the head is something infuriating.
Yes, something infuriating, specifically. Very specifically.
Yeah, well, very unspecifically, I guess.
Depends how you look at it, I guess.
So most of the time when you see virus encounters like that one, we'll be taking Heat Cross and copy damage, and we've spent a lot of time running this game, so we generally know like how to deal with most encounters in as few Buster shots as possible.
There's typically about 12-ish different random encounters per area. A lot of them are generally very similar. For example, there, I know that I don't need to take copy damage because copy damage takes a little bit of time with the animation of actually firing it. But I know based on the pattern of the, one sec, I'm trying to remember. Okay, 5 text boxes, good. But yeah, like...
A reminder to fight base, did you jack out?
Yeah, I did, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be the best time to fight base, which is actually the donation incentive that's been met. But I defaulted to my muscle memory.
You forgot as well.
Yeah, I defaulted to my muscle memory, which is to ignore that.
You
You can just go do it right now.
yeah, you can pretty much do it whenever.
Yeah, so earlier in the day, the donation incentive was met that I would have to drop the base. What that means is I basically just have to go and delete base real quick. And so, BN6 is a very interesting one where you can actually fight base surprisingly early. I think the only other game where you can fight base nearly as early is like BN3 maybe, but he just also destroys you, and that's a forced loss, so... So, we're gonna go quickly find base and show him who's boss. And by that I mean I'm probably gonna die to him 3 times and then we'll win.
Yeah, reminder to save.
Oh yeah,
for
no.
Sure.
Oh yeah. There are 4 times I think I'm going to save in the entire run. Base will be one of them.
Did you save before the magFAST? That's pretty dangerous.
I did not do that one because I've never soft locked in this game on the magFAST.
I'm not sure if you can in save.
Yeah. It's a very interesting little place that you can go find base. Gotta get a ton of virus encounters on our way.
I think generally the easiest way to beat base this form anyway is to take beast out and mill chips, so we'll get a bit of a look at beast out here, I'm sure.
Yes, that is correct. That is what I will be doing. Basically just beast out, take as many chips as I can over the 3 turn limit, and then try and finish him off with heat cross, if I need
Basically, I like it.
Oh no, I don't have 40 additional HP for base.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you don't have undershirt, but it should still be fine.
I was doing it earlier. Like I said, I think it's about 70% success rate, and it really depends on my draw.
Yeah, you cancel most of his attacks, so it is like pretty much just draw based. You do 200 per hit. He doesn't have that much health. It's a 2k for fun.
Wait, that's not what I want to do. Dang it. I was trying to drop the the bomb on that guy's head. Oh, this fight's so annoying just because of the pulse bulb.
Yes.
Now I'm just a tiny bit lower, which is going to make this a little bit more annoying. Yeah. It'll be fine.
That's whatever.
I actually had a few times where I literally didn't... Oh, come, really?
Did you get another one?
Yeah. Let's see. What's the best way to do this? I broke all the panels. This is fine. We're just going nice
you were
and slow.
like one step away.
I know. I almost had it. Almost did that perfectly, but... Alright. So yeah, this is just under net 0. You just go... There's apparently a portal up behind the tree that you're supposed to just know about. And now... Yeah, I don't know.
The tree thing's probably written on a BBS board somewhere.
So, as we mentioned, I can charge these null elemental chips, and basically what I'm going for is just canceling base out of his attacks as often as possible. That's a very good draw. And then the Buster Rake is probably the hardest one to dodge.
Yeah, so beast outs actually, it makes dodging the buster rate a lot easier. Because you'll jump away and then cancel him. And yeah, generally you won't get hit by it if you're using beast slap.
Wait, this might just work. Very nice. And that's base. Not even close.
It's all about the content, always.
Air spin to win, indeed. I was thinking
Have
about
lethal above your head, throw it away. 20 HP. The Risch way.
Yep, I did have the ability to finish in the previous turn, and yeah, I just chose to not.
Didn't overbeast though. Oh, terrible.
I was thinking about it. I highly considered it. You don't know. I highly considered it. I did it in one of my practice attempts earlier, and was very upset that I couldn't charge the chips that I selected.
Oh yeah.
So.
You'd air spin too though.
Yeah, I theoretically could have just air spin, but. And then it would have just been another 100 damage I needed.
Yeah.
Alright. As expected, first try though. And now, hear this nice and anxious music. That's because our dad has been arrested for hacking into the system of justice in Cyber City, aka the Judge Tree. That's right. A tree controls who is guilty and innocent in this internet world of Battle Network. It's that tree right there.
While you're mashing through 30 text boxes, gonna sneak in a donation.
It's already done, but go for it.
We have $20 from This Is JC. This is 20 HP. $20. I think you got hit too much, Risch.
Dang it.
Thank you for that donation, JC.
It was so close.
Oh, did you earn?
To earn? Huh? No, I thought about it. No, I was saying it was so close to actually just finishing that fight super cleanly. I think I only got hit by like 2 Buster Rakes. And then somehow dodged the Golden Fist. Still don't know how I dodged that one. It's a very interesting hitbox. Also, on this next fight, shoutouts to Taraj himself for showing me the better way to do this if I don't get a good draw.
Oh, the beast out strat on this fight's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do it anyway.
Shoutouts to Falzo version where beast out is better on this fight than its cross, but this strat doesn't work because it slaps in the opposite order.
It just works out so nicely because the
Actually,
beast...
that was... It didn't fully make it to the other panel. It probably would still work in Falzo, right?
Yeah, no. If you're fast enough, it would work. But yeah, the nice thing about Beast Out is that you can utilize every now and then is that it swipes in 2 directions, so it will hit the current panel that you're directly in front of twice, which is why it does 200 damage right now. But it's actually doing a long sword hit and then a wide sword hit, so you can often utilize that to your advantage.
I have
Excellent.
another donation if you have a moment.
Yeah, go for it.
Phantom Matt has issued a challenge. He's put $20 down and says, "Beast over on Diveman EX. I dare you."
Beast over on Diveman EX. That implies they have to wait 3 turns, though.
I mean, it might take 2 turns anyway.
Just beast over, or beast out on the fight, the random encounter you get on the way there.
Assuming I get it. And even then, beast, or my last man fight's gonna...
Oh, reset?
Just
Yeah.
beast out for the blast man fight.
There you go. There
I
you
want to
go.
close my eyes.
Open the gauge and go heat beast.
Do it for the content. It is $20. It is $20. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it in a way that will allow me to still get sub 220.
Like burning a turn on blast man would be reasonable.
Yeah, no, I think
Because you can finish him off with heat beast, right?
Yeah, I can definitely
Show
get
off
him.
that for a thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, for some reason I also forgot the code to the store, so I had to go talk to an NPC. So I should really write this down in my notes.
Amateur. You could have just asked me. God, we're right here. We've run BN6.
Yeah, it's just a slightly unfortunate thing that they literally make you go find the door key or door code. I can't wait for what Phantom Matt's gonna come up with for me to do on Dragon Marks for Death. But this comp is a very interesting comp. There's some rules to it. You're not allowed to step on the grass, and the grass happens whenever you step off of a panel, essentially. So basically, the idea is you're not supposed to step on a panel more than once. However, as is classic BN fashion, those rules are merely suggestions, and I will be breaking that rule in a moment. This didn't happen in my PB attempts. I love getting 2 encounters in this comp. It's a very low chance. You're typically going to get 1 encounter in comp 1, 2 in comp 2, and then ideally 1 in comp 3, but it's still not unlikely to get a second in comp 3.
We should probably mention that those rock guys take half damage from non-breaking attacks. But copy damage ignores their armor.
Yep. Copy damage just applies the damage directly to their health rather than, you know, legitimately hitting them with the attack.
Mm-hmm. It'll also go through like all other kinds of shields. You can't hit a invisible target with copy damage, but if the target becomes invisible while copy damage is already on them, I think it will apply the damage.
And so that's Lurking Skip.
Oh, you did Lurking Skip?
I did get it.
Let's go.
So yeah, we just broke the rules. You didn't really get to see the gavel all that much, but what that does is basically... I know! I can't change it, but you know... I was hoping. I wonder, is the best...
You don't always get an opportunity to do Lurking Skip, but it saves 1 encounter if you do.
Yes. Basically, the reason I grabbed the Blue Mystery data as well was so that I could more easily react to the gavel's pattern. Basically, when you step on the grass, a gavel comes out and starts trying to bonk you on the head to punish you for what you did. So, there's the second.
That gavel's lucky you're not a Mr. Prague.
I know, right? So, you'll actually see it again here. You'll probably actually see the gavel this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there he is. Just trying to chase me down. But if you hit the threshold for the next area or this cutscene for the boss fight, it doesn't matter anymore. All is forgiven. So this is why we want M Boomer.
The second gavel skip is called Celine Dion skip, by the way.
Yes, yes.
The first one is named after a runner who found it / did it by accident.
No, I think he did it intentionally. He was trying to get it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The second one is...
So Celine Dion's skip...
It was named.
it has a name for a reason that is unknown to literally all of us, and we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, Judgment doesn't have any attacks. It's really unfortunate that they chose to design such a terrible boss. He looks kind of cool at least, but you know, it's really unfortunate.
It's a cool design. I like him.
Yeah.
Shame he doesn't fight back, but
Yeah, it is what it is.
sometimes he gets to attack once and you counter hit him for it. It's pretty funny.
To make the Expo theme. Excellent. Alright, and now this is the quiz that we needed to do the earlier quiz to unlock.
Yeah, so we actually took a detour to Seaside just to pick this up because it's literally how much time it saves. And also we never come this deep into Seaside again anyway.
Yeah. And so we just got Slip Runner. And that's the last magFAST edit we're going to make for the rest of the run. And you will very soon see what Slip Runner does. But basically, now, when I am Mega Man, I previously had to hold the B button in order to be able to run. Or to move at run speed. But now, I don't have to hold the B button anymore. This is a mechanic known as Auto Run in BN5. And I think BN6 also has that magFAST program. So
No, it's just built in Slip Runner.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, it just has auto run built in, which means I no longer have to hold the B button, which is a really nice to have, or it's like a nice quality of life change. But the way it works is normally when you're running, your step counter increases by 2 per frame that you move, and when you walk, it increases by 1. However, that basically is just checking whether or not you're holding the B button. And so if you don't have to hold the B button because you have auto run enabled, you just get encounter chances less frequently. And then the actual important, or the actual like obvious part of Slip Run is what I just did, which is when you press the B button, you just slip in a direction very fast until you hit a wall.
There's also a bug that we abuse using this program that you'll see a little later. We'll try our best to explain it. So even if it didn't have the extra slipping function, we'd probably still get it. BN5 gets auto run in its speed run because it saves so much time, and it doesn't even have any extra effects. It's literally just halves your number of encounter checks.
Yeah, it halves the number of encounter checks you get, but then the Slip Runner also just literally increases the speed at which you move. For example, if you ever watch a TAS of BN6, which Aerthar is working on, it is a sight to behold. Then the slips it does. It's so hilarious to watch.
It's really good.
Very nice.
We use it more for step counter optimization and trying to rat out random encounters. The TAS just goes ham and presses B all the time. It's really good.
It's very nice. Can confirm.
Worth a watch if you can. There's a Japanese TAS that's been done already, but it's kind of been taken from Nico and re-uploaded on YouTube, so it's in really poor quality. I'm working on a TAS for 6 a little slowly. I've kind of relaxed a bit on it recently. But when that's done, it'll be in better quality.
Shoutouts to Airspin.
Shoutouts to Stardew Valley, yeah, for sure. Also Airspin. Really good shit.
Oh, is that why you've been taking it easy?
Maybe.
Interesting.
It's the main reason. Or it was before. Now I have other stuff going on too. But...
Man, I haven't had to beast out or heat cross yet.
Yeah, this is going pretty well.
This fight is just always fastest to heat cross on. And now for perhaps the hardest fight of these.
Yeah, the pulse bulb fight kind of sucks. They have armor, so most things can't damage them easily until they attack.
Clean.
I didn't hear any complaining, so I assume you got it.
Arathar knows me too well.
It's pretty tight to get that first copy damage off, and even then you can accidentally pull the other pulse bulb instead, and then that one stuns you, so you can't do the same damage boost strat. And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
If you miss the copy damage, there's really no good way to handle it.
Yeah, especially considering I only had one ship selected there. It was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I really haven't had to beast out except for on like 2 fights or heat cross. Really?
This is quite the gauntlet split.
If it weren't for
Oh
the
my
Kragger,
gosh.
I would be able to just M-boomer this, but I don't have full synchro going into this.
This is one of... Any fight with a Kragger is one of the fights where it's... Like, most of the time you're not going to be able to use anything other than heat cross. There's one where he only has 180 health, so you can get away with Boomer plus 10 or air spin.
Yeah. Wait. I saw Adron, I was like, wait, does that work on this? But no. It's air spin and M boomer that works really well there.
Yeah, copy damage is very, very strong. Oh, and the Armadillo can still be hit for the first panel of his attack, so you double hit him when it clears the encounter. I like that one.
Yep.
That double Metar encounter, it's not really any faster to go with Black Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
What Risch did is, like, I think the fastest you can clear that encounter. Maybe M Boomer is, like, comparable. I don't think it is, actually, because it's annoying because the front Metar spawns.
Yeah, you basically have... It's so weird what you gotta do there with M Boomer. You either have to wait...
Oh. What? I figured out when I was doing my casual playthrough that you can actually beast out and copy damage that starfish before he gets.
Yeah, actually, you're right. You're entirely right. Now that I think about it, if you have full synchro here, which sometimes you get,
I was super excited.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool optimization. Now that I think about it, there's so many fights where, like, if you just go into the next fight with full synchro, they're just slightly better. This fight's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, though, yeah, I want to do that with Beast Out.
Oh, I love that Scarecrow Pulse Bulb fight.
Yep.
It's so good.
This is a very nice fight with Black Bomb. Black Bomb, when it hits a fire enemy, just immediately deletes them and also immediately explodes, destroying everything.
More specifically, it does, I think, 100 damage on impact.
Mm-hmm.
And that's either breaking type damage or null damage, I'm not sure. And then if it touches a fire enemy, it'll also explode and do a 250.
Yep, which is its base damage. Or if you're in Heat Cross, it adds 50, so 300.
Yeah.
Alright, so the end to this wasn't the best. Didn't really keep the draws going, but
The rest was so good that
I think this is a gold split for me.
probably.
Three-second gold at least. 10-12. And now we're coming up on another section of the game where we're going to lose control of Mega Man briefly. So we have to run all the way back to Central Town right here just to go grab Heatman. This is one of the nice things, at least, of if you do the Electcross scenario, which has been unlocked at this point. You could have done it just before you did the Sky Gauntlets. It's the optimal time. You would then have access to Electman here, and you could just go use him instead to quickly go to the Undernet to go save Mega Man. But the Electman scenario unfortunately takes too long and actually would lose time overall. But it is a very nice additional option that you have available. This is a very fun part of any percent attempts if you're grinding for a good time is how many encounters do you get as Heatman? Because we don't have the auto run feature programmed into Heatman right now, which means we can get a lot of random encounters running through these sky areas and the Undernet.
Battle Network 1's a little rough around the edges, but they're all really good games. Definitely worth playing them all if you're interested in the series. It would maybe be beneficial to play Battle Network 1 first, because it is a little bit hard to go back to.
I was gonna say 5 is typically you love it or you hate it. Interesting draw.
Yeah, 5's a little bit hit or miss. I found it a really interesting game. I quite enjoyed the mechanics in it. But a lot of people didn't like it nearly as much.
Yeah, if you're not a fan of Liberation missions, then, you know, you're not gonna like it. But I personally love the Liberation missions part.
It can.
Yeah. Can quickly just describe what a program advance is. Program advance is when you select 3 chips, or potentially 4 chips, potentially even 5 maybe, in a particular order. And if you choose them in the correct order, then you get what is called a program advance, which is a very powered up chip, right? So in that case we took cannon A, B, and then technically it was supposed to be cannon C, but the asterisk or star counts as C in this case. So we took cannon ABC, got Giga Cannon, which does 300 damage and explodes in a 3x3 grid, which is pretty crazy compared to 3 40 damage cannons. Not very useful typically in the any percent run, but we take those. I ever thought personally
Some of the Battle Network games rely on program advances. 2 in particular, sort of 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
1 is really special though. It's quite the speedrun.
Yes, I got 2.5 encounters. We call it a half encounter if you got to force or to guaranteed run away. So yes, that was 2.5 encounters, Dallas.
This is when I think we're going to be doing Electman and the Gregor SP. Right?
That makes sense. This would be the most optimal time. in terms of just pure movement.
Yeah, on the trip to Undernet, I'm thinking we're going to take a detour to Undernet 0 with Heatman, because there's a fire there we have to clear.
Ah, interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's really interesting because all of the Battle Network games are very similar in the way that they play for the most part, but each of the speedruns feels unique in the way their strategies align and the way you have to approach the game as a whole. So each individual speedrun is just super different from one another.
Yep, it's one of the really fun things about the series as well.
Why did I get this fight? I was thinking about this earlier. Yeah. I was supposed to save before this. Why did I know that this was going to happen?
Oh god.
We're just going to do this.
Just beast out.
No,
Play
hold
it
on.
safe.
Hold on. Just gonna pretend nothing happened.
You have one that's specifically this comp?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's what was supposed to happen, and then I was supposed to use airspin properly. It's okay. I died. I didn't actually make any promises that I would donate to charity if I died, but because of that death, I was thinking about it earlier. I honestly just kind of expected it. I'll probably donate $20 later for that death. What do I want?
There are not many places you can actually die realistically in 6. But that is one of the places, so...
There are, like I said, 3 fights that I'm actually scared of. I completely forgot to actually save, though. So we're just going to pretend that I actually saved. Because I meant to.
Yeah, you can't just not finish the marathon run, right?
Yeah.
The folder might be slightly different. It should be mostly the same. We might have a reflector A now. It's like really reasonable.
Oh yeah, the folder's going to be a tiny bit different. Reflector C was actually taken out of the folder at this point. I can honestly make my folder 100% identical, I think.
There's no way you have reflector C.
No, I took reflector C out, is my point.
Oh, right.
Let's see if I can do this fancy thing. Nope. Nope.
What is this meant to be?
So, there's a very nice timing where you... Oh, wait, Oh, wait.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I've done it before, but I might have just forgotten how to properly do it. How does it work? Because now that I think about it, that would not have worked the way I handled it. Oh, I can't go that way, that's right.
I guess you would hit the top plane, right?
I think, yeah, you're supposed to go for the top. You're supposed to copy damage it and then move to the top plane. Yeah.
Would deal 300 to the other guy because the
yeah, that's what it is. I was supposed to move up. But yeah, if I really wanted to make my folder 100% identical, I think I would just have to take out a train arrow and a mock gun and put in air shots.
Oh, you have mock gun on the save?
Yeah, my save states assumed I was going to keep or have a mock gun.
That's fair. I mean, often you will.
Yeah. No, yeah, I kept thinking about that fight specifically because funnily enough, I was watching the current world record holder. We talked about Jagumba earlier. I was watching him do a run of this. He literally died in the exact same way as me 2 days ago.
That's like a scary strat for sure.
And I was like, how are you supposed to do this fight if you draw air spin? And of course, I knew that today would be the day that I was going to draw air spin. And I was supposed to save before that, but that's why I was thinking about saving. But, oh, it's so funny. He literally died in the exact same way. Made the exact same mistake.
Yeah, that fight and then one later fight are like probably the only spots where things can go like pretty wrong. Like enough so to kill you anyway.
Yeah, it's like that base and there's one fight later. Were the only ones I was scared of. Oops. So, we're about to see our first instance of the glitch we were talking about earlier, slipwalk. I was supposed to do it already, but I forgot to, so...
Oh, I thought you just missed it.
No, I just completely forgot to do it. There we go. So this is slipwalk. We are moving at run speed, but we are in the slipwalk animation, and in that animation we actually are unable to get any encounter checks. And because of that, the way it works is actually when you step onto the cloud, it resets your step counter back to the last encounter check that you got, which is basically right around when I grabbed that GMD. So, because of that, it's really nice. Really? At least I got that one. I was so close to the double.
Something step optimization, basically.
Yeah, it's just getting less frequent encounters. Which, unfortunately,
So,
I got punished for missing the first slipwalk.
what 6 is all about. That typhoon, or it was literally on top of you and it didn't hit you.
Yeah. And?
I couldn't even see Mega Man's sprite. What do you mean?
Nothing looked abnormal to me. that was as expected. I'm actually not even kidding. That went exactly as I anticipated.
I don't know. I was a little fishy about that one.
These typhoons keep getting in my way. Yeah, so this cloud basically has 3 HP, and it loses 1 every... Well, no, it has 2 HP, I guess. Right? No. 3?
Basically, you have to get hit 3 times.
Yeah, if you get hit 3 times, you'll get knocked off. And have to go grab the cloud again, like this. Just for demonstration's sake, you know? This comp can either go so flawlessly, or it will go just as poorly as you're seeing right now. And there is no difference. There's no in-between.
Yeah, pretty much. These things control you super hard. There's another comp like this later, and like the cloud can actually just move for as long as it wants to, pretty much, and you have to just sit there and wait.
Where did they go? Yeah, so the idea is you're supposed to circle them with the power of the rainbow, and what that means is I'm going to make a square because that's the easiest thing to do on a D-pad.
A perfect circle, yeah.
Yeah.
We use the power contained within the rainbow macaronis to summon the Skittles.
Yeah.
So the typhoons are having a bad day, so we need to let them taste the rainbow.
This is correct.
It'll cheer them up. Element Man is a really unfortunate boss because his mechanic is that he form changes to different elements, and the poor guy decided that it's a good idea for his first form change to be grass.
Which is...
Grass is pretty flammable.
Yeah. It's a great time. It's a great time. The second he changed into the green form,
Yeah, you got Black Bomb as well.
he was dead. And so this is another instance of the pavilion Pavilion Expo Operator Navi Test.
That's close enough.
Yeah, we're going with it. I say it differently, I think, every time I have to describe it. So... So basically all we gotta do is we gotta go find this thing called a moonstone. And all we're told is that it's in the undernet. So we're gonna go find it. However, we already know that the next place we have to go to is Greentown. This is actually a slightly minor, more recent-ish optimization. Saves about 5 seconds. You could just go to Greentown immediately, take a shortcut back to your PC, and then another shortcut to Sky Area, which is the closest to the undernet. And with that, we're already in position to go talk to that NPC that will tell us where the next NPC we got to talk to is. The BN games casually are phenomenal. I think that everyone,
yeah. Honestly, all 6 of them.
Yeah.
Some of them you'll like better than others. It depends a little bit on your personal taste and maybe also a little bit on the order you play them in.
Yeah. It's like, based on your play, like the way that you prefer games, some of them might be more to your taste. I think that 2, 3, and 6 are typically agreed to be some of the best games in the series, and they're just super good. You know, the others here and there, people definitely still enjoy them. I love 1, 4, and 5, but like they're just all great games, and I think that the combat system is so unique that I love that people are starting to explore it more with indie games like One Step from Eden. There's a bunch of other great indie games in development that are also utilizing BN's combat system. There's a bunch of them that honestly I can't even think of the names of all of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's so many now, and it feels like more pop up all the time.
Yeah.
Eden is my favorite of them so far, for sure. It's also the only one that's out there, so it's kind of...
Eden, yeah, One Step from Eden...
That's not true. There's actually an iOS game.
Oh.
It's called Phantom Rift, I think. It's alright.
Wait,
yeah,
you don't get affected by
iOS
ice panels? What the heck? Ah, super dark mix.
Oh, yeah, they teleport it.
They don't teleport, though.
They do.
They move one panel at a time.
That's a teleport, though. I think they can move to random panels, can't they?
No, at least not Dark Mech 1s, at least. Or the next level, even. But it's okay, we found the Moonstone by just walking off the face of the planet.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah.
This game has a couple like hidden things like that, where you can actually just walk on nothing. Those are actually intentional. It's not like you're walking out of bounds or anything, it's just hidden roads. That's all it is.
Yep.
They're every now and then.
Invisible paths are in most of the game. They're at least in 4 through 6.
Yeah.
Can't think of any in 5, but I'm sure it has them.
Now, if you have never actually seen Battle.Network 6, but you've seen the previous games, you would be familiar with AC/DC Town, the area that we are now going to. AC/DC Town is the main city, or main town, I guess, in all of the other Battle Network games, so this is just sort of a quick little throwback to that. I've made it my mission to swag talk to every NPC from here on out.
What? 2 in a row? Well, in a row. 2 tries.
Yeah, it was close.
That is 1 frame.
Yeah, frame perfect, by the way. Yeah, no way. Yeah, Smog, but unfortunately swag talking in these games isn't as easy as the earlier games.
But he doesn't swag talk to any of the easy stuff, like the door, just the NPCs.
Oh, whoops. I honestly just forget half the time. I said that was I made it my mission and then completely forgot that I just said that and stopped doing it. Here, I'll do it here.
Well, I mean, you can't swag talk them, skipwalk. But... Oh, really important that if you do what Risch just did, press B before you hit the warp, because if you touch a warp while split locking, your game soft locks.
Yeah, be very careful with that.
If we have time, maybe we'll show that off at the end, but it's, you don't want to do that.
We are the last run of the day. Probably can just do a quick little shout out to that.
Oh,
because I do plan on saving before Gregar anyway. Might as well, you know? Who knows what could go wrong on the final boss? Yeah, so like right there, you really have to slip into it. The slip walks are really nice to just avoid random encounters as much as possible.
Yeah, they're slower than slip running, but they do move at your normal running speed, so it's not too bad.
And you just have to be careful not to run into a wall. That's the key thing. The moment you hit a wall is when you will... it's basically the same thing as the slip ending, and you will exit that animation. And it will give you an encounter check right away. Oh, that's totally how we're supposed to do that movement. 100% intentional.
I can't wait. What?
My finger slipped.
That can't even be that much worse. It's like step counter was.
Alright, don't worry.
Like an extra check.
Yeah, definitely. Don't worry, I have not forgotten our little bet if you're still here, Phantom Matt.
Ooh, I thought you would forget. I also forgot.
Alright, so one more. He'll be at 20 HP, and then we're going to do this.
Oh, Last Man's really hard, by the way.
Yeah, I could literally do that with my eyes closed. Unfortunately,
S-rank the SP Last Man fight doing this exact same thing. You will always come to the front.
That's actually not even a bad draw for this. So Diamond EX is a little bit nicer because I can just, with super armor on Beast Out, I can just kind of ignore the torpedoes.
Yeah, the torpedoes do 20 damage, which is nothing. It's a little bit of a concern, maybe if you have 120 HP. When you have 540 HP...
You're a legend. Beast over Mega Man. Great M Boomer usage. I couldn't have done it better myself.
So when you run out of Beast Out turns, you can Beast over, which puts Mega Man into kind of a berserk state, similar to if you go Dark Soul in 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, I split there now.
But then that lasts for 1 turn. I think it auto opens the custom gauge as well.
It does.
And then it makes your health drain rapidly in battle from there on.
I actually could have theoretically died there because of that. If I didn't hit him with Black Bomb that exact instant.
Potentially. I'm not sure if the drain can kill you.
I assume it
Don't think it
can't,
can.
but then I have to avoid torpedoes and still had to do 70
Yeah.
damage, which like isn't hard, but not necessarily trivial sometimes when I had a bunch of cannons that cause iframes. Good work, worth every penny. So with that, basically after we beat Dive Man, Mega Man gets kidnapped, starts being set amuck in a copy bot, and now we have to go rescue him. Oh wait, I went the wrong way. Te-Earn, by the way.
You did. You were thinking about the other one?
Yeah. I read the email.
Oh, you went like farther on one.
Yeah. I was wondering, I was remembering, like, oh yeah, Mr. Mock told us this. I was like, wait, I didn't talk to Mr. Mock.
I made it all the way to Central 3 right
Yeah.
then when I did my casual.
Very nice, very nice.
I was
It's
like,
a
oh,
very, it's a very
talk to
easy
Mr.
thing
Mock.
to forget every now and then.
Yeah, remembering where to go is often the hardest part of speedrunning these games. If you get distracted at all, it just slips your mind.
Mm-hmm. But it's okay.
Especially when you're almost 2 hours in. Your
Yeah,
brain is just kind of exhausted.
it's okay though. We have a nice, safe 230 estimate that I'll literally never go above ever again in my entire life. Hold me to it.
So when are we doing full game randomizer?
Full game randomizer. That doesn't count. I'd go over 230 for sure there.
You probably still get sub 230,
Oh,
even not
interesting.
using V-Star and Speed Cross.
That's fair.
Just get a better folder. So.
That is the question. How hard can you make me throw Phantom Mat? Currently tracking my status. So, Busterless any percent? Hold on. That was not gold. Never mind. Carrying on, carrying on. Sometimes there are gold mystery data, and you really don't need to pick them up, ever, but any marathon run, if I even catch a glimpse of a potential gold mystery data, I have to pick it up, so. Contractually obligated.
Yeah, gold mystery datas were something they added in 6. They have, I think it's roughly a 25% chance for somewhere on the internet there to be a gold mystery data whenever you jack in. It's, for a specific mystery data, it's much, much, much lower.
Yeah, typically we'll see it in like Central 3. It's a very common place.
Yeah, sometimes in Sky, and sometimes that's about it, actually.
Yeah, normally when we see it in Sky though, it's like we're passing by it and there's literally no chance we'll ever be able to grab it.
You can get one in Seaside that's like right in your path.
Yeah, the Seaside one is occasional. On the like 2-3 trips you make through it. And so, if you guys enjoyed Evil Spirits earlier, well, guess what? They brought it back. And here we go. Round 7. Except
Thankfully,
these
we
ones are a
end
bit
up
harder.
never seeing any encounters in these areas because they're pretty awful.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we don't have access to the Heat Cross Buster, like, Heatman is pretty bad at handling fights.
Yes.
He can't even hit the back row, so
Yeah, if he doesn't draw M Boomer or the other one, better M Boomer.
Black Bomb, Air Spin.
Air Spin. Oh, or Black Bomb.
Yeah, you have to draw well.
Or I guess Elm Trap, but most of the viruses in here are null.
Yeah. You just have to draw well in these fights, and
Or candles.
oh yeah. Luckily we have copy damage for that, but yeah, luckily you don't get encounters during evil spirits, and we route evil spirits pretty well such that we do them quickly and we end up near the end of the area, so we can't get an encounter. Don't mind me trying to be literally optimal and failing super hard and losing more time than it was actually worth.
I appreciated that. Frame perfect April needs to not gain any distance. But still, like, turn and then...
Oh no, yeah, they were frame perfect every single time in a row.
It's first frame. So, good job.
It was quite impressive.
There's a frame where you can adjust the direction you're facing
Yeah.
after you press A,
Yeah.
which is how that happened.
Yeah, it's not quite frame perfect. But...
It might be 2 frames, actually, because it takes a frame to accelerate.
Mhm.
But you don't actually move until the 3rd frame.
It was impressively suboptimal. That's how we put it.
Yeah.
Alright, and then after this final evil spirit section, which, funnily enough, is actually the only one where if you actually make a mistake, sometimes you can just cost yourself the whole puzzle and you have to restart it from the beginning. But every single evil spirit respawns and you get all of your weapons back, obviously, so...
In this area, every mistake you make costs a lot of time, and most of them make you restart the whole area.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be really careful in this one, because you literally have a dagger left, which means I could hit one additional evil spirit.
Yep. And sometimes you can save it, but you'll usually have to, like, tank a hit from them. We haven't seen that. There's a mechanic where if you're standing next to an evil spirit after you use a weapon and it survives, it'll hit you back. And that animation takes actually forever. G-Beast is one of the more annoying fights. He isn't consistently counter-hittable every time. Sometimes he does an attack where we can't counter him.
It's okay, he's dead. Don't worry about it. My hands are off the controller even.
Oh, you got M Boomer. Of course you got the M Boomer double for that.
Oh, what a great fight. What a great fight. No, that fight is honestly the worst.
It rarely goes that way.
Can I... Ooh, got him on the grass panel.
Oh, so Colonel has an AI loop that you can lock him into.
Yeah.
He's just trying his best, no bully.
Listen, I was intentionally not AI looping him because grass panels for double damage is more important.
That's true. You're
But
not
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, it's like I messed it up once, so I could have gone a little bit faster, but
If you want to try the AI loop yourself, it's kind of hard to explain without a visual aid, but basically just make sure you're always standing in his cross-div range, and he'll never use like the bomb or anything.
yep, it's basically the X of your side of the field. You stand in either corner.
Well, not the backmost column.
You can though. You can stand back there.
He doesn't hit the...
Yeah, he does. You should ask Terra. He uses it with Electros.
What?
It's kind of cool, actually. You can do it from the back. But with Heatcross, it's typically better to do it from the front because your Buster comes out faster at the closer you are.
Also, you won't hit him if you stand on the back most of the time.
Yeah. Once you get him in the A loop, you can stand in the back, but...
Sometimes he'll be in the middle row, won't he? Or the middle column.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you might be right about that. I don't know. But anyway, now we get to the fun fights. Under BBS. I think realistically I don't have a chance of dying on the second or the third fight, but I'll still save before it just in case.
I died to the second fight. Anything's possible.
Oh yeah, you did die to that, huh? I do remember that.
Yeah.
Now.
It's okay to forget it.
That was impressive. Not gonna lie.
It was. Yeah, you can forget it.
Oh, speaking of not saving.
You definitely have a state at that anyway.
It's okay. I have a save state of that, yeah. It's okay. I actually just destroyed that fight, so...
That fight is usually not a problem, and I think you learned how to deal with it pretty easily, right?
Yeah, with the Beast out, it's actually not as bad as it used to be. It can still be potentially problematic, but every draw in this last fight is actually just a bait, except M-Boomer, which can save exactly one charge shot.
Sometimes you can hit them with Black Bomb.
That's why I say it's a bait, because you said sometimes.
Look, alright. It's not a bait if it works.
Oh, hey. Second turn. I was like, where am I going? Sky. It's okay. This run is no longer going to be a sub 220, but it will definitely be sub 230 without a doubt.
The estimate is 225.
Wow, Terra. Thank you for your faith.
You had confidence in you.
Thank you for the faith. Because I'm still gonna hit that.
We'll see. We'll see. I believe in the nightmare.
There is actually, you're right, there's a fourth place I was planning on saving. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, yeah, there is a fight there. I forget because I ran Japanese for so long.
Yeah, I'm saving just on the off chance of that fight.
That fight in particular is like the worst one in the game, I think. It's really bad.
Yeah, it would not be fun. This one has been a nice mix of me being both like playing well, getting decent RNG, and then also getting bad RNG and playing very poorly. This one has had it all. It's a very classic BN experience right here. How will we end this run? And here we get yet another instance of slipwalk. Maybe. There we go. This time we're just gonna use this to go talk to all of our friends, which funnily enough, they don't count as walls. I can run into them and not lose slipwalk. Yeah, that's actually the only time we see Proto Man in the entire run. He's in a cutscene or two as well.
He's in a cutscene, and we see Not Shod in
Yeah.
Greentown.
And now, for the best song in all of Battle Network history. Friendly reminder that this song is like a 9-second loop, by the way.
Can't wait for the Koki remix of Pavilion.
That might actually make the song good, though.
Yeah. I hope it's only a 9-second video.
That would make it top tier. The BN games have phenomenal music, and many people have made very good remixes of them. Oh, I can't do it this direction. There we go. Not very good at doing it, but NPCs are merely a suggestion.
Okay, I mean, that was slower, but I appreciate it.
I had to do it because I'm not on a good pace run anyway. I also feel like Tara would have gotten mad at me for not doing it. Oh wait, going around the other way is faster.
I would have, if I remembered.
I remembered just at the end. I was
It's okay,
like,
the task walks through all kinds of NPCs.
yeah. And now we get to redo some of the old favorite comps, like Aquarum. So yeah, all of these Pavilion comps are remakes. Ooh, that's not good.
Yes, all of our old favorite comps, like Mr. Weather and his menacing typhoons.
Yeah.
Black Bomb B.
So yeah, basically you just want to get Slipwalk real quick so that we don't get any encounters while we rescue these progs. Just have to be very careful to not run into any walls, which can be difficult in this comp.
Yeah, there are a lot of sharp turns.
Yeah.
Also, we high-five a shark.
Yeah. It's the best. We also tailgate a shark too, so...
I think you might have a 6% because you use the second GMD.
Probably going to be a bit more than a 6%, honestly. It starts going up to a 3% if you're even slightly suboptimal going to the first GMD.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Alright, well...
And also, funnily enough, the way that this game treats encounter rates is like it basically treats dungeon comps differently from other internet areas. This is considered a regular internet area, so it's not treated as a dungeon comp for some reason.
This has 3%?
Yep.
Lord.
All of the Pavilion comps have that. I figured that out while looking at
That's
Pavilion
so
3
weird.
specifically.
That's so weird.
Yeah. This is a terrifying fight.
You gotta fight. Of course you gotta fight. We
Yeah.
mentioned it was possible.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Drew Black Bomb, but Listen, that was terrifying until I saw
There's
the
not
draw.
even a wind box. Like, come on.
Yeah, if there was a wind box, I was dead.
So this comp is really fun and special.
If only Terra had Benny Hill theme queued, but unfortunately that would probably get DMC'd.
If you remember, in the Judge Tree comps, we made a couple exceptions to the rules. In this comp, we're going to ignore them completely.
So we're just gonna let the gavel just tag along for the journey, you know what I mean? He's part of the run too. First try, every try. Oops.
So that is gavel skip. This was actually added to the run before the other two in Judge Tree. And it happened because I was being done at the end of one of my runs and decided to try it. It saves about 20 seconds.
Key thing is you can't get an encounter check while the gavel's out, so you just don't. You basically are doing that to skip a random encounter.
You skip one random encounter, yeah. The encounters in there aren't even like particularly bad.
Nope.
But you load into the encounter, use heat cross, load out of the encounter. It takes a while. And like, did you see that? It was so swag.
It was very cool, and I'm a big fan of gavel skip. And like we said, it does actually save time. So
Yeah.
Yes, Erithar invented gavel skip.
Yeah, gavel skip's my fault.
Ooh, that's interesting. I was supposed to save, wasn't I?
You said you were gonna...
It's fine. Because I'm just a god gamer.
You ran away from me.
No. Just didn't get the encounter. Why would you get the encounter when you can just not get the encounter?
Oh. Wait, did you just make it to the end and jack out?
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Ah yes, the best part of BN6. There is also a oh, let's not interrupt him when he's trying to go into our favorite form. Hold on. Now, so this game has a patch for it that allows you to press the select button, which typically is not used very often in the speed or in the game. It's used to skip cutscenes, basically, so just remap that real quick. But it's a patch that lets you dab as Mega Man. Very nice patch. And I had the privilege to do gavel skip while trying to route in as many dabs as possible.
It works in cutscenes too, so like when Mega Man jumps off Skytac, you can like dab through the air. It's really good.
I'm gonna do this just to be safe, but I'm curious how this works. Well.
Oh yeah, this is really good. You beast it.
Beast out was just to be safe. The dragon has like a weird pattern that I don't fully understand, but he seems to just not move into your row.
Yeah. He also doesn't like the front, I think. No, he definitely goes to the front sometimes. This is probably just random.
My controller's acting up. Oh my god, that was my
On that fight?
that yeah. My controller decided to just stop charging.
This fight is really tight.
We're just gonna redo the comp. Sorry about that. That was so unfortunate. My controller sometimes doesn't like to register that I'm holding the B button.
Look, you've got to get close to the estimate somehow, or it's not content enough.
Yeah. Listen, nothing ever happened, okay? I'm just never gonna speak of this run ever again. But Phantom Matt, my birthday was 2 weeks ago. Oh, I don't need to do that. Let's go. There we go. Just don't have to charge him.
This candle fight is, we didn't get to see the really tight strat, but I'm really bad at the really tight strat. Like, it's really tight. I hate it.
I'm really good at it when my controller lets me charge my buster, apparently. Oh. That worked.
That was exactly how that fight's meant to go.
Correct.
100%. Now, if you get hit by the tent, which isn't impossible, but...
Nothing. Oh, I see what goes again. My controller acted up for a second again. I was very upset when it let go of the buster for no reason.
Okay. So the tent would have killed him if it hit him, but we'd sort of know when the tent is coming, so...
Yeah.
I don't know how we know, but I always know. It doesn't... It's a feeling thing.
Yep. Yep. This is also why I have so many backup save states, is for marathons.
Yeah.
Have them all over the place. Alright, this is a very important couple of charge shots.
So the Gregar fight is actually, like, pretty interesting. He has 2 hitboxes, and there's like cycles, and you animation cancel by damage boosting off of falling rocks, and there's a bunch of stuff we could spend time explaining, but he die. Basically, TLDR of it.
I had to throw the mini bomb one last time. I'm sorry.
Oh, did you press A too soon?
Time. I'm sure Tara knew when time was coming up.
Oh yeah, probably. Oh, the TLDR really though is that that heat breath does 400 damage per hit, so
Yeah,
pretty good. A little bit strong.
yeah. So it normally does 200 damage, but because multiple hitboxes and it comes out instantly, unlike the Heat Cross Buster typically, it does exactly 400 damage. It's very nice.
We were doing double damage with the Heat Cross Buster as well though for 260.
Yep, well that's because we were able to get him as he was landing. So our Heat Crossbuster was already out and just sitting there for him to drop in on. If he had done a different attack, I would have been able to throw in one additional charge shot while he still had iframes, so it would still be lingering. He would gain vulnerability again and take additional damage, but it wasn't necessary in this case. But yeah. That was Battle 6 Psybeast Gregar. I did get pretty close to the estimate of 225, but It's fine. It's fine. Couple hiccups due to controller technical difficulties. We'll just leave it at that. And the other one was just me being bad, as I expected. Yeah, Psybeast Greg is the best Psybeast. So I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Team BN. I don't know if we're allowed to post a link to Team BN in the Twitch chat, but Team BN is a community of BN and Star Force fans that contains a lot of other speedrunners. Myself, Erithar, Terra as well, or Jarrett as he's been called a few times. All three of us are members of Team BN, and there's a bunch of other BN speedrunners, Star Force speedrunners, basically myself and a couple others. We exist, and we're all just big fans of the games, and so I think that it's a great place to hang out, talk about the BN games, and you can also find some good streams to watch related to the Battle Network series, so definitely recommend checking out Team BN. We also do stream content every now and then. Every now and then.
Yeah. Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, when we feel like it.
Yeah. T Terra J42. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for shoutouts. Anything you want to say, Erithar?
Oh, that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you to Terraj and the rest of the magFAST crew for letting us come on here and play some Battle Network 6 to wrap up the Mega Man Day. Just gonna do the quick thing, I guess, right before we close out. The thing that we do at the end of most BN6 runs. We talked about it a bit earlier, but just gonna go quickly soft lock the game, and we'll call it a day. There's just a nice convenient comp right here where we can get the slipwalk glitch. So we just walk up to this prog. So as you can see, I'm in the slipwalk state right now. And the important thing is if I happen to step on a warp, no matter what inputs I do, I am no longer allowed to play the video game. Unless, of course, I soft reset. But that is the thing. So I think that's it for Battle Network 6. Guess we can turn it back over to Taraj to wrap up the day, I suppose.
Thank you, Risch. Thank you, Erithar. Fantastic run. Lots of quality content. I expected nothing less. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Incredible generosity. We hit our goal in the Mega Man Day 1. We still got 2 more days full of amazing content. Check out the schedule. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna have to invent new donation incentives for you to hit because you've crushed all the others. So thank you for that. But that wraps it up for day 1. We are done. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had fun. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, starting at noon EST. Schedule will adjust to your time zone. And tomorrow we got Castlevania, Dark Souls, Zelda, randomizers, and even a sing-along, which we've already met. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you for that. And until then, take care, have a good night, and we'll be back tomorrow.